It's the Daily Comedy News with your host, MarkinsPires. Join us for breaking headlines and all kinds of comedy shenanigans. Brought to you by The Beat Seat.
Good morning, my friends. Welcome to the longest-running daily variety show on planet Earth. The MarkinsPires Show, day 1927 in a row. We have a crazy show for you this morning. We do the comedy news every single morning, so come over to YouTube, X, Rumble, subscribe, turn on all notifications so you can see the stories over my shoulder. And we're going to pull up the first news story of the day, which, again, this is a pretty big deal, and I'm not sure how big yet. We're going to read this together. But the EPA imposes the first national limits on forever chemicals. And I gotta tell you, I haven't been drinking public tap water for years because I know about this stuff. And the fluoride, I mean, that's a whole other conversation we're gonna see if we can get into right here. But join me. I'm about to open up this story on the corner here so you can see it and scroll along with me. If you haven't seen my news stories yet, what I do is just basically read them with you in the moment, and I create as much comedy as possible. I think we're living in the most negative, destructive world in history, and I'm trying my best to be the one show every day that's not about that. So we don't do any politics. We're just reading whatever we could find in the breaking news that's non-political, but we can get a chuckle out of. Sometimes it's a pretty graphic or disturbing story, like the P. Diddy stuff, or did something on serial murders. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's still comedy there. We look at the eyes. And you see crazy people's eyes. There's comedy when you look at crazy people's eyes. I got Modoc Roughstock in the house. Good to see you, my friend. If you're here on TikTok, welcome. We do the show twice a day, 9 a.m. and then after 10 p.m. At night, I write songs live in the moment on this guitar. And with the sponsor of this show, the Beat Seat. It's the only drum in the world for guitar players. You could sit and play your guitar and kick it. It sounds like a drum kit. Or if you don't have your guitar in your hand, it's the only drum on planet Earth you can play with your hands and your feet at the same time while sitting completely upright. No pedals needed. It's just a box, and it's ridiculous. It has unlimited tones, unlimited vibrational effects. If you have a child with autism, if you know anyone with autism, they need a Beat Seat. It's the most full body, full spectrum experience you could ever find for someone who's trying to connect. So check it out, beatseat.rocks. Let's get into the story here. EPA imposes first national limits forever chemicals. What are the limits? Shouldn't it just be like we're banning? The EPA's banning forever chemicals in the water? No, they're putting limits on it. Any of it that gets into your system, it's there forever. That's why it's called a forever chemical. So what is this limit? Let's find out. For the first time, the Environmental Protection Agency has established national limits for 6 types of per and polyfluoroalkyl, I don't know, PFAs. Let's just call them PFAs because that's what they are. So national limits for 6 types of PFAs in the drinking water. Substances known as initialism PFAs are nicknamed forever chemicals because they can barely degrade and are nearly impossible to destroy. So they linger permanently in the air, water, soil, and guess where else?
Something inside for
We have a gentleman by the name of Matt Zabrowski. He joins us every day for a woohoo. Zabrowski, hit it. He brings it. So guys, the class of chemicals, PFAs, has been associated with the higher risk of certain cancers, heart disease, high cholesterol, thyroid disease, low birth weight, and reproductive issues, including decreased fertility. Most people in the U.S. have PFAs in their blood, according to the Department of Health and Human Services. Most people in the U.S., guys. We're most people, you and me. We have PFAs in our blood, they're saying. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, the EPA announced Wednesday that the levels of PFOA and PFOs, 2 types of PFAs commonly used in non-stick or stain-resistant products such as food packaging and firefighting foam, can exceed 4 parts per trillion in public drinking water. What in the freaking heck? 3 additional PFAs restricted to 10 parts per trillion. I don't want any parts per trillion. EPA, hold on a minute. Yes, I'm trying to reach the EPA. Oh, hi, Donald. Yeah, look, I'm here, Mark Pires with the Mark... Yeah, the MarkinsPires. Are you serious? Donald, I had no idea that you'd be a huge fan. Look, I'm here, I'm doing the show right now. Oh, you're in the chat? Hold on a second, let me check. Oh, Donald's in there with Modoc. Donald, what's going on, buddy? So listen, Donald, what's the story? What are you doing with the PFAs? You know, because I'm here and they're talking about parts per trillion when I think it should be 0 parts per trillion. I'm thinking like a ban on PFAs. And you guys are like, let's just still allow some. You know, how stringent is 4 parts per trillion really? You know, I mean, I just want to get an inside understanding as to how bad this stuff really is. Can you let me know? I mean, you work there at the EPA, Donald. Really? Yeah, that's what they just said. You know, Donald, when they're here telling us that there's a higher risk of certain cancers, heart disease, high cholesterol, and thyroid disease, and then you're just echoing said concerns here on the phone with me, why do we have any parts per trillion? You know, Donald, look, I mean, you just should tell the upper level guys that we want to live. All right? You're spraying us from the sky. You're putting it in the water. Fluoride. What's up with the fluoride? Because I know I'm never using fluoride again. You know, it's just dulling your brain. Yeah, I see. Donald's never even used fluoride. Donald, why were you the guy working at the EPA, never using fluoride, and then pushing fluoride? You're a fluoride pusher. You know, I think you should go to jail for that, Donald. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, hang out in the chat. We'll see you in a little bit. So Donald's not real. This is my freaking TV remote control. Guys, the point is, you know, the EPA new limit reflects the lowest levels of PFAs that laboratories can reasonably detect in public water systems. So I guess that's the point. It's the lowest levels they can check. Well, again, why don't you just have that? It's got to be below that, because if we find that you have it at all, you're getting fined. We're shutting down the water treatment facility. But when you say you're going to allow them to put some in there, they're going to try to egg the system. They're coming in next week. All right, water down the freaking PFAs. You know, and then they show up, they're doing their test, they're just below the legal limit of 4 parts per trillion. They were at 12 parts the week before. They just flushed a ton of water through the PFAs. You guys know how it works. They're always gaming the system. You know, it's like back in the day when they were like, what, the feds are coming. Let's hide all the stuff. Open up that private, you know, safe you got under the bed. Anyway, 11 states are already in regulatory standards for the PFAs. The EPA estimates that 6 to 10% of the country's public drinking water will need to make changes. 6 to 10% of the country. I mean, here's the question I have. How do they have any idea how many systems need to be adjusted when clearly they don't know which ones have PFAs in them? I mean, it's been everywhere. These people dump these chemicals into our water. And then we just make our food with it. Make an iced tea. I don't know, guys. What do you think about this? Huge historic public win for health. That's what they're saying. Scott Faber, Senior Vice President of Government Affairs at the Environmental Working Group. Faber called the new EPA limits the most important step we've taken to improve the safety of our tap water in a generation. Faber, Scott Faber, please. Oh, hi, Scott. Look, my name is Mark Pires. I'm the host of a show on... Yeah, what? You know about the show? Scott, how the freaking hell? No one knows about the show. I've been here for 1,927 days in a row. I keep calling people. They all fucking know about the show, but no one knows. I mean, no one knows. I'm live every day and no one even knows it. Good to have you. Listen, what's the deal? Most important step. What are we doing about fluoride? Right? Good job on the PFAs. What about the fluoride? They're just dumping it. Oh, you got another? Yeah, I'll just dump it right in. Nebraska's drinking water. They need more fluoride, guys, for their teeth. Rotten through their face. Brain? Huh? What's going on? It's done. No more brain. Fluoride. No, we're doing the PFAs first. It's a huge win. Why don't you tackle a double-decker? Guys, we're doing a PFAs and a fluoride. 0 parts per trillion on both. You know? I went to bring my kid to the dentist a few weeks ago for just a yearly cleaning. And you know how they like to do that fluoride treatment to your stupid teeth, right? And it's been a few years, I think, since I was a kid where I was like, yeah, I like the bubblegum fluoride. And guys, fluoride's not good for you. Look it up. It's toxic. It's toxic. And, I don't think you need that. Baking soda peroxide you could put together and you can make your own toothpaste, that type of thing. But also there's stuff like Tom's. They make a no fluoride toothpaste. That's what I use. It's great. So I would suggest stay away from all tap water. I mean, the thing is, it kills me. I'm putting in no fluoride, Tom's into my mouth, but I basically always put my toothbrush under the water first before, so it's not like disgusting just putting this thing. But I think I should probably stop doing that because I'm putting the freaking toothbrush right into the fluoride water and then putting on non-fluoride toothpaste. So I got to think that one over, User, how you doing? Hayden, how you doing? Mike's Tic Tac in the house. Gregory Petrillo. I actually played baseball with a guy named John Petrillo. Dude was a freaking beast. He hit so many home runs. Freaking love playing with that dude. Good guy. Haven't seen him in years. Anyway, guys, EPA, $1 billion, right? Funding, newly available to help states and territories. They're just giving the billions away. How you doing? Good? Oh, you just had to give more money to them so they could give it away to Ukraine? Yeah. Or how about the new houses they're going to give to people who came here that you're paying for?
I'm excited about that one.
Oh, goodness. This one was freaking mental, and I don't know what I could say because YouTube pulled me off last time. I said anything that had to do with an industry that has to do with Dr. Weasel fraud approved. You put on your 7,247 masks. You go outside. You get the bugaboo 26 times. You still got CV. I'm sorry. It would have been worse. It would have been worse. You would have been worse. Mom endures intensive schlemo after terminal diagnosis that left her saying goodbye, only to find out that she never even had the big C in the first place. Misdiagnosed. She thinks she has the big C. She thinks she's about to die. They're like, you need intensive chemo. You can't say the freaking words. They'll pull you off the air. They have the patent on chemo. It's what 60% of an oncologist, just so you know. 60% of their income comes from chemo. Look at this lady, lost her hair, chemoed. She had chemo, double-deckered, and now no hair. Now she's got the hair, no hair. Let's read the story. I feel bad. This woman, a mother of 2, claims she underwent very intensive chemotherapy, only to find out she never had the big C at all. Lisa Monk, 39, from College Station, Texas, initially went to the hospital in 2022, guys, for stomach pains. She was suspected related to kidney stones, etc. Tests from the appointment revealed 2 kidney stones, but also flagged a mass on her spleen. Unreal. Higher education worker went to a successful surgery to remove the mass in January of last year, but that's when the events took a turn. Lisa Monk initially went to the hospital, there we go, claims that the spleen was sent to 3 different pathology labs to be tested before finally being sent to a 4th lab, where it was tested positive for a rare and terminal form of cancer called clear cell angiosarcoma. Angiosarcoma is a type of cancer that forms in the lining of blood vessels and lymph vessels. Despite available treatments, angiosarcoma is considered to have a poor prognosis regardless of age or gender. It was a blood type vessel cancer found in the spleen and told me that I was optimistic to get about 15 months. This is what Monk was told, 15 months. The mom, understandably distraught, she has 2 young kids. I didn't want to tell them that I was terminal, I only had 15 months. So I told them it was bad, but I told them I'm gonna try to fight it. My oldest son took it the hardest. My little girl was very good at hiding her feelings. It found out from her teacher she was getting overwhelmed at school. So look at this, pictures of her losing her hair. What followed, Monk explained, was an aggressive chemotherapy regimen where she referred to the Big C hospital that had the first round of chemo in March 2023. After losing all of her hair, Monk explained that she underwent a second round of therapy and left her sick beyond belief. silvery skin. It was a very dark time. I was writing goodbye letters and letters to grandchildren I would never meet and weddings I would never attend. She turned to me and looked completely horrified. But at a routine appointment in April, the following month, Monk received even more shocking news. She never had the big C in the first place. The pathology report, her doctor explained, was wrong. Freaking A. I saw the nurse practitioner first, and she just asked me about my symptoms and was just scrolling on the computer when she was talking to me. And all of a sudden, she just stops talking and she has a look on her face. She turned to me and looked completely horrified. And she told me she needed to get me to the doctor and ran out of the room. She left me alone for 15 minutes and the doctor came back in. He said a lot of medical lingo and then told me I didn't have the big C. Confused at first, I initially was thinking this was a good thing, that her treatments had been working. But Monk said she then realized it had been a horrible mistake. The doctor had told me that I never had the big C. I looked like I had C, and I felt like I had the big C, and I was vomiting all the time, probably because the chemo. I was sick, and my skin was silvery because of the chemotherapy. Again, guys. To add insult to injury, the mom said the doctor that congratulated her rather than apologizing for the egregious error, the doctor then congratulated me, which really bothered her, which I don't blame her. Look at her, guys. It's freaking terrible, terrible. Look at her. She's going through chemo. That destroys her body. You know how many years of her life she just lost by doing that? 39 years old, has young children, wrong diagnosis. I hope she sues that hospital and that doctor for wrongful diagnosis or whatever the hell it is. So bad. I wish I knew how to explain the legal terms that you need when you're going after a doctor for things like this. Someone fill it in at the bottom there. At the time, I was in shock. A more appropriate response would be, I'm sorry. I asked for a copy of the pathology report and I found a hallway to call my husband and tell him the news. But the error doesn't end there. Monk claims that after viewing the pathology report at home, she realized it was dated a month prior, meaning the hospital had information prior to her second round of chemo. You motherfuckers! But they simply didn't read the report until her appointment. These fucking bastards. Negligence, medical negligence, malpractice. I think that's what you're going after. Malpractice. I had a chemotherapy during this time and they could have told me a month earlier and I would have avoided the second round of that freaking poison. Freaking pissed off right now. My dad has cancer. So this is, I can't say the word, sorry, the big C. And so this really pisses me off. I had to wait a couple of days and then it was confirmed to me that it was not the big C after having a discussion with all the doctors. In the end, they determined that my spleen was going to rupture, which is why it had a mass on it. It was just blood vessel activity, no big C in it at all. This poor lady, I swear, I hope she gets the best attorney. Where's Matt Damon? I want him going after this, like class action suit. There's got to be more of these. This is unreal. Rain Man. A year later, Monk says she and her family are still facing the mental, emotional, and financial fallout from the hospital's appalling error. Yeah, hold on a second. She paid for this too, by the way. Unfreaking real. Financially, she says they're still paying the bills for a treatment that she was never supposed to have. That kills her. It doesn't save her. Can't say that. I don't know. It helps her, guys. It makes her all better. But despite the fact she didn't need to be made all better because she was fine. She had a spleen that was about to rupture. That's it. Monk says she was unable to get any of the bills dismissed. Gosh almighty. I also still looked like I had the big C. I was bald and did not appear to be well because she wasn't. 2 rounds of chemo that she didn't need. Gosh, I wish I was an attorney. I would call her right now and be like, yeah, it's Matt Damon. Rain Man in it. You know what I mean? The mom went on. I grieve for my kids for having to go through what they went through. You know, their lives went like it was chaos, right? Going to lose their mom. She must be English. I can't take this away from them. I know on paper it looks like a few months of my life, but it felt like a lifetime. They took off many months of your life, potentially, by giving you any treatments when you are a healthy person. You know, you go up to any healthy person, you're like, hey, put this in your system. You're good. You're going to not be as well afterwards. You're making yourself unhealthy by doing something when you are a healthy human being. So this lady I didn't see anything about hiring some sort of attorney and going after them for malpractice and for literally just destroying her family for a year. The bills she's paying, those bills, I'd be like, yourself, come after me. Come after me. Are you kidding me? Like, I would be so hardcore about this right now. I can't believe this lady's she's like, oh, we're having a hard time with the bills. What? No. Are you kidding? Despite the fact that it was the hospital's fault, Monk says she's unable to get any of the bills dismissed. Where is the president of this hospital? Where is the board of this hospital that they could allow this to happen to somebody and not say, we're paying for everything? And by the way, we're responsible for this. We're liable. We should have caught this. We had a month prior to your second treatment, which we billed you for, by the way. I would actually say the reason why they didn't tell her until her appointment is because they were billing her. Remember that oncologist makes 60% of that, or he makes 60% of his income on doing claim error. So guys, I'm sorry, I'm pissed off about this. It really bothers me when I see this. It really bothers me when I see people, doing their jobs so bad. This is so bad that they would allow this. Like, nobody's second check. They didn't look back. How did they find this later and not when they first reviewed the information? Like, I can't understand how time goes by and you're like,
Oh, geez, we made a mistake.
if the information didn't change. So what happened? I would hire the sickest attorney on earth. And is Kardashian still alive? Kim Kardashian's dad, Robert Kardashian. That's who I'd hire. I'd bring him back, and somehow go after this hospital. Such a sad story. So let's try to talk about something a little bit more uplifting. Is there anything out there? Carson Daly says, sleeping in separate bed from wife Siri. Her name's Siri? Really? Is she also from Spain? Hilaria. Helps them stay together. Highly recommend. The couple have been sleep divorcing, as they call it, since 2019. Daly tells people he swears by the practice. Good for him. Magoo. Tim Allen's new TV show cast another sitcom vet. His daughter and I can't wait to see them butt heads. He can't wait to see Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Yeah, I'm coming out to be Christian Slater officially. Yeah, we know. Charles Barkley has something to say to the losers who watched Monday's eclipse. All right, Charles Barkley. Let's see, I got something funny to say about that. I got to listen to him. I'm going to do an impression of Charles Barkley. No time for losers who gathered to watch the eclipse. Shared his thoughts. The epic nail-biting game. UConn prevails 75-60, claiming the national title for the second year in a row. But Barkley said, were y'all some of them losers standing outside watching that today? Yes, they are, Barkley shot back. Hey, we've all seen darkness before. Stop it. Come on, Chuckster. Don't hate on the eclipse, Johnson begged his co-anchor. I'm not going to sit outside like an idiot and wait on darkness, Barkley argued. It's going to be dark when I go outside tonight. Well, Johnson interjected with more than a hint of sarcasm. This is a very worthwhile segment. So Charles Barkley, 61, chooching it out. It's a scientific marvel. This is a astrological event. It's not like going outside at night. That's a daily event. So, pretty cool stuff. If you guys saw it, if you had a chance to be in the path of totality, which I know a lot of people that did, I'm still waiting for some photos and videos from you guys so I can pop them up here and we can look at them together. Chris, how are you? So good to see you. See that? My mother refuses the chemo, only took targeted scradiation. I don't know what we could say. My dad did that, and then now they put him on the chemo the last time. It's unfortunate. It's in my dad's bones, and so I don't know if there's anything. But he's now, thank goodness, at least listening to the point where he's taking the Essiac tea every day, and also apricot seeds. And I think even soursop tea, which is also what I heard can help. So, but that's the thing that kind of sucks is you watch these people trust that they're going to do something for them. And the reality is this is the same treatment that hasn't been working for a very, very long time. And it has the effect in a very small group of people. So it's like the percentage of the people that try it and the percentage that are actually successful. And then it's usually like there's a time in the future where you're looking at it again. It's not like it's gone. That's the problem with this thing. It's a momentary, kind of maybe assist, but who knows. All I would say is this. My heart goes out to anybody dealing with what we're dealing with, Chris, you and me. Will, how are you, my friend? Good to see a Hilly Billy in the house. So yeah, I mean, this is a very, very tough time in history. We're seeing a lot of people. Someone the other day, one of my sister-in-law's friends from college, like 51 years old, guy dies of some aggressive brain cancer, like after being diagnosed like 40 days before, like young guy with kids. It's just like, it's such a sad thing seeing people that are young go through this and suffer, and families suffer because of health issues. And then you question, this forever chemicals and all the other stuff that they're doing to us in the air. And you look around, guys, these airplanes aren't just flying by. There's a lot of them doing some other things up there. And if you start to understand that you're being kind of bombarded from every angle, affecting your health, trying to remove people, it's quite frightening. It's frightening. And I have to say, like, I don't want to get political here, but I do have to say one little thing here that I actually wrote this on X earlier. I find it very interesting that every single person that is trying to stay in power this coming November, every single one in unison has this belief that killing babies is how they stay in power, and pushing on this whole thing about how the other side doesn't want to allow these rights to be just like whatever, you do it whenever you want, do whatever you want. And so they're out there literally pushing on a campaign of killing babies. And I'm like, you can see the evil without even trying. This is really, really messed up. And then I take the next step and I'm like, they're 100% behind this group of people that are literally ending their bloodlines. And so when you guys say, no, they don't care about depopulation and all these weird things that people are out there saying, you stand back and you say, okay, they want these people to end their bloodlines. They're all for it. You go, I see you. I see you. Go out there and be you. Don't wake up. Just keep doing you, And then when you come to an end, so does your family's bloodline. Hey, that's good for us. We wanted to have less people here, didn't we? That's one less family tree that continues on through the generations. So you think you're being so, cavalier, but at the end of the day, what you're doing is you are neglecting the entirety of existence by being selfish and confused, and one day it will all come to an end for that bloodline. So you have that, plus this, let's kill babies. And I'm like, whoa, you can feel and see the evil. Hilly says, I asked Wage last night what the difference between, I don't want to get too into to this topic, but I will say, guys, head over to YouTube and read Hilly's messages over there. You're hilarious, Hilly. Oh my goodness. S-Coop in the house. Oh goodness. We're into it today, guys. We're into it today. I mean, like I said, I'm not getting into that topic, but I just wanted to say that real quick. Stand back. Stand back and try to look for evil. Just look for evil. Don't look at conversation. Look at overall, consensus speech and what this whole push online. You go look, guys. Every single one is attacking this whole thing. They're trying to stop you from killing babies. I'm like, what the? There should be something, if you have a horrific event takes place, someone attacks you and then does something and then now you're pregnant, that's something you can do. But it should be very early on. It shouldn't be waited until right before, or a couple months before, and you're like, I don't feel like it anymore. There are people out there that would love and die to have that child. And so what I would say is start a new, there should be something where these people instead say, we have a company, we have some sort of nonprofit that when you don't want to do it, you bring it to term, we'll buy that baby from you, we have a family that will take that baby. And then there's a fee you get. So instead of you saying, I want to go and just terminate because that's what the man wants you to do, not the man, but the freaking man who runs this country wants you to do. You say, you know what, I know about this Project Hope or whatever, where I can go and I could tell them what I've got going on in my life, and I'm not prepared for this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a mom. And you know what? They're going to pay me for my baby. And there's a family out there that can't wait to be parents. And so I'm going to do that instead of have some doctor do some disgusting thing, because it's not really a human yet, guys. You know, you weren't either, were you? You don't want to talk about that, how you were the same thing and you're here today. But that's not a baby. No, it's not real. Heartbeat means nothing, you know. Disgusting. Sense evil. Just feel for it, guys. It's right there. Ex-cat burglar, here's how I broke into 200 homes and stole $1 million. This one's a good story. Here we go. I'm an ex-cat burglar. Gee, she looks like Hilaria Baldwin. Is that what she did before she became Hilaria and hilarious? Let's see, in an unprecedented expose on the Locked In with Ian Bick podcast, Jennifer Gomez lifted the veil on her astonishing career as a cat burglar, divulging intricate details behind her spree of more than 200 home break-ins that netted her around $7 million. She's killing it. Look, that's video of her right there breaking in. Let's see. With chilling candor, she peeled back the layers of her methodical approach, revealing calculated tactics that propelled her into some of the most affluent neighborhoods in Florida. I'm shutting this off. All right, let me just do this real quick. Hold on a second, guys. Just for a moment, I'm just gonna go live there too, so at least we're on. Comedy News Daily, 1927 days in a row. Let's go. Clapper. We're going to bring Clapper in too, guys, just for a moment, because I was on TikTok for a second there, and TikTok kind of blows. So I always wanted homes that were nice. I mean, at least $1 million. Gomez, 41, confessed during her last week's gripping interview, offering a glimpse into her meticulous selection process. I would always try to find a home that was in a cul-de-sac. I wouldn't get lost in there, or a home in a backed up street. So let's see what she says here. Hold on.
Was going to be a lucrative hit and that I was going to get something out of it. Obviously, nobody knows for sure, but to the best of my ability. I always wanted homes that were nice. I mean, at least $1 million homes. Maybe not multi-million because, you know, now we're talking a lot of security, but at least maybe $500,000 to $1 million homes. Nice, affluent neighborhoods. I would always try to find a home that was in a cul-de-sac so I wouldn't get lost in there, or a home that backed up to a street. Not like a main street, but just maybe like a two-way street that was right outside the neighborhood, because sometimes I would have to jump a fence if I had to get out of there quickly. My car was on the other side and then I'm gone. I always wanted like shrubbery, bushes, landscape, which wealthy people, they usually find. And let me just say this. I knew a lot of things about how wealthy people live because my parents are both physicians. And so I lived in a nice neighborhood. I know what my parents did. I know what my friends' parents did.
How did she go from physicians to
It's kind of the same thing. They all kind of do the same thing. So I know that they're going to have a nice landscape. They're going to have things and shrubbery and trees and things that I can hide behind. They're probably going to have a privacy fence of some kind. I can hide behind that. When I get in their backyard, I'm completely concealed. Everybody has an alarm that has money. I feel like if you have an alarm, you have something worth protecting. So I would always try to make sure there's an alarm. And rich people always want to advertise all of their security. This home is under surveillance, ADT alarm system stickers, just everything everywhere, the picket in the front of the yard. Like, they just want you to know. But for me, that was a good thing, because what you're telling me is you have things to protect. And now I know there's an alarm system, so I'm going to work around it. I can see if the motion sensors are on. I can see if the alarm is even on, because you can just look right through a window or the door and see if it's red or green. You know, you can see if it's armed or not. So there's a lot of things that you can tell from the outside of a home that will give a burglar a lot of information. And that's why I always tell people, like, stop advertising everything that's going on in your house and with your house. So
Isn't that interesting, guys? Like, she just kind of nailed the issue with this. I actually always assumed when you put out like Sonatrol or this house is protected by ADT that you're like the Roberts will call, I'm going to go to the next one because this one's got protection. But the reality is they're like, oh great, if they didn't set that alarm, this is a house that clearly has some stuff in it. And I didn't think about that because, you know, if you don't set your alarm every time you leave the house, you're basically telling a robber, hey, let me go check and make sure they didn't set the alarm, you know? And you never think that. You think that that's a warning. that they're going to say, okay, I'm going to walk from this one. But she makes a valid point. As a robber, you're like, there's something good here. Pretty crazy. So I'm not sure what you guys think about that, but I think this lady's out of her freaking mind. Let's hear a little bit more from her. She was raised in an environment of privilege. Gomez she drew upon her intimate knowledge of wealthy lifestyles to craft her criminal exploits. I knew a lot of things about how wealthy people live because my parents were both physicians. They're probably going to have a privacy fence of some kind. I can hide behind that and get in the backyard. I'm completely concealed. When targeting homes, Gomez preferred it to be raining, a common occurrence in humid Florida, because people are not outside. They're not gardening. They're not landscapers. They're not anyone jogging in the neighborhood. And even if they are someone that can see me, there's like rain droplets on the window, so they really don't know what they're looking at, you know? The keen eye for detail, Gomez homed in on subtle cues of security systems. Like we were just talking about, rich people always want to advertise all their security. There's a lot of things that you could tell from the outside of a home that will give a burglar tons of information. She told us about that. Stop advertising everything that's going on in your house and with your house. Very, very true. You see it right here, secured by ADT. And you got the guy there, he's like, you know, did you set the alarm? She's looking through this little peep window here, this little transom on the side, and she's going to see. She's going to see it. Gomez developed convincing ruses to gain entry. I'm like, Miss Sarah, Miss Suzanne, hey, are you there? Hey, open up, come on to the door. Your daughter wanted me to check in on you. If they were home, she'd walk away, but relentlessly assuring first nobody was home was the main focus. Gomez also carefully curated her wardrobe, wearing shoes of 2 different sizes, gloves, and her hair pulled back. Wow, two different size shoes, so I guess you couldn't track her, you know? Gloves and her hair pulled back, carrying a purse with her tools. I didn't wear any makeup, try to look as young as possible. I always wear scrubs because I'm under the ruse that I was a med spa. I was a med spa for dogs. Gomez's shrewd understanding of pet behavior set her apart from the average burglar. Rich people don't crate their animals. They let them walk around. So I know that's if your dog's walking around the house, your motion sensors are not on, so I can walk around the house freely. Gomez's ingenious methods for outsmarting even her most vigilant guard dogs, including bringing steak, chicken, or a sandwich from her car. If there's a dog and it doesn't look a little scary, or it looks a little scary, I'm giving it food. They're not going to get me. Jeez. Perhaps the most audacious move Gomez's playbook was locking the garage upon entry. I hear commotion because people are going to be like, what the hell? Why is my door locked? Who locked the door? And that has worked, she admitted about her sly strategy to sow confusion and buy herself valuable time. You know, I guess if someone's trying to figure out how to get in their garage, it's like all of a sudden locked. And now they're like at the door and you hear them like trying to open the door. Like, what's wrong with my door? It gives her like a good minute to grab one or two more things and jump out the door. I look for cash, I look for gold, and then I get the hell out of there. Look at her. She got totally canned at some point. Gomez hopped in her getaway car and head home and tallied her loot. I got a very average car, silver Impala, Chevy Impala, and just a silver Chevy Impala. I don't know why many people that are wealthy would be able to point out that car and say it was her, like a police car maybe. Gomez spent time in police cars, having served about a decade behind bars for burglary. So basically, she's a total wackadoo. I bet you she's doing it again. Guys, remember what she said? Don't advertise your security system. Just have it and turn it on. You know? Massive houseboat mired by illegal mess, forced to move. I don't give a crap. All the famous people who appear in the SA lawsuits filed against Sean Diddy Combs. Let's just see who they are. Did they say? It's probably in here. We know Cuba Gooding Jr., of course. Lucian Grange. I hear that's the guy to really look into. I mean, look at his friggin' eyes, guys. You guys know how I feel about the eyes. He's got goofy eyes right here. Anyway, what else do we have? Justin Dior Combs. That's his son, I guess. Young Miami. I don't know who the hell Young Miami is. DJ and producer Stevie J. They were doing it together, apparently. And that's who we know about. Did he like to dut? Especially with little boys. Sean Diddy Combs named a defendant in an R suit against his son. Oh my goodness. Guys, this is getting very interesting for that guy. I would say it's Oklahoma judge orders Kansas City Chiefs superfan Chief Saholic to pay $10.5 to $8 million to bank teller? What? What is this? Superfan known as Chief Saholic, who admitted to a series of bank robberies. What in the freaking hell? Oh my goodness. Last week, a judge in Tulsa handed down an order against Xavier Michael Budabar, 29, who was known for attending Chiefs games dressed as a wolf. And former bank teller Peyton Garcia alleged Budadar used a gun to assault her during a robbery of a Bixby, Oklahoma credit union in December 2022. The judge ordered Budadar to pay Garcia $3.6 million for her injuries and a loss of income and $7.2 million in punitive damages. Does this guy have money? I always think it's funny. How are you getting any of this money? This guy's he dresses up as a wolf and wears the old Zebos pants. He's got the Zebas pants on. You guys remember those dumb pants? Look at that idiot, Zebas. I had a pair in the 90s. I didn't know they still existed. This guy's got them. Look at him. Bank robber. He's given the middle finger. And literally $7.2 mil. Okay, so $10.8 million he's got to pay. Let's see if this chooch has any money. Oh, goodness. Budadar must pay at least $532,000 in restitution. He must forfeit property, including an autographed painting of Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes that was recovered by the FBI. Before his arrest, Babadar was a well-known figure on social media for his rabid support of the Chiefs and attended several games dressed as a wolf in Chiefs clothing. What does he do? Is he a wolf for a living? Ed Blau, a prominent criminal defense attorney, said that because it's safe and assumed bank robbers aren't generally wealthy, Blau, who's not affiliated with Garcia's case, said that while the strategy's savvy for Garcia to sue Bubada, it's unlikely she will ever collect much from him. Thank you. He's a freaking wolf. Wolf of Chief Street. He's robbing people blind, and then they're going to get a judgment for 10.8 mil. He's robbing people. That dude's not sitting on cash. Sonny Hostin makes shock. I don't care. Judge takes away man's Dodge Charger Hellcat after he acted like a Hellcat owner. Ooh. Guys, I think we've done enough news for the day. I got to go sell some real estate. If you guys didn't know, new music coming at you. I got another one. I just finished editing earlier. I have to send over and update the audio just a touch, put a little EQ to it. I'm going to drop 2 songs today. I hope you have a chance to check them out. I'm working on another 3 songs. More comedy news stories. I've got a couple short stories that I'm going to drop as well. So after the show, keep your eye out on the channel on YouTube, X, and Rumble. And if you can, Clapper, TikTok, just follow everywhere. Subscribe, turn on all notifications. I hope to see you guys later when we do part 2. Get some music going. Let me see who's with me. Hilly Billy, Hilly Billy. Hilly, we got to have a little jammeroo together. I want to get that Bible out and talk to you. Have you point me in a few directions. Tell me to read some things from 1775, if there's anything interesting there. I think Hilly's read older Bibles, so I'm not sure if it's that interesting to Hilly, but having the actual old Bible and not just a copy is kind of cool. So if I could read anything from it, I'd love to do that with Hilly one day, but a lot of fun. If you guys have not subscribed, please, to Hilly. Support my brother. Let's see who we got over here. Anybody? Everybody? Who's there? Over here on Clapper, you guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. If you can, make sure you subscribe to all the platforms. Hilly Billy in the house. Modoc, Roughstock, Will. If anybody's out there doing a little lurkaroo, thank you for showing up. I think it was a good show. A little comedy news, had some fun. Don, El Cacharito, and Daly Fairhot, good to see you. I hope to see you guys later. We're doing it again. Until then. You got to go away. Chris Donaldson, Varela, lurking it out. You guys are awesome, but you were here, not lurking now. Outro. Matt Zabrowski will be back for a second woohoo, guys. Not sure if you knew that or not. Hilly Billy has a Bible study every Saturday, guys, 1 p.m. Make sure you subscribe and join that. And maybe we can get the 1775 Bible too, or at least a conversation in one of those. But I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Thanks for joining.